Alrighty boys, so I got something cool to share with some of you guys that you might be interested in messing around with. This is Kaiju trains. I know there's gonna be someone like, Azneyes, you freaking 2 weeks late on this. Alright, you know what? I might be late to the train. Ha, 10 out of 10 jokes. But, this deck is actually pretty cool. Watch what this other guy makes. And then this guy playing them Kaiju trains, Thomas. You absolutely wreck this guy that makes like a standard little field over here. Look, he's got that Miracle Fusion for next turn, maybe a setup. Oh, Slight tributed it for a Kaiju. And trains definitely have some of the most insane access to the best rank 10s in the game. Like, oh wait, anything that has access to rank 10s. I mean, like, this is crazy. 7 Sins, he just freaking beat the guy that had double synchros on the board. He had a Beals that had increased attack. He had a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. He was ready to go for next turn, but he did not get that next turn simply because they didn't allow that to go through. The trains weren't stopping, man. There ain't no brakes on this train. But nonetheless, I think it'll be a deck that some people might be interested in trying out just because it is another odd pick. And Kaijus right now are pretty popular just to main deck some of them simply because, yeah, you know, ABC Buster Dragon kind of loses the Kaijus. Really good card against other cards like Treat Toad, and just a lot of different things just lose to Kaijus. So a lot of people in the TCG are running them. Heck, in the OCG, they've been doing Volcanic Queen and Lava Golem because they don't have access to the Kaiju. So in TCG, I don't know, Kaijus are where it's at. I like how with the uninterrupted slumber, you always give him the lower Kaiju, but look what he does over here. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead and increase my attack like crazy, and then just go ahead and just finish off your opponent. And this deck definitely seems like it's very, very aggressive, as you guys will see through these replays. And if you guys want the deck profile, don't worry, I got you guys covered on that as well. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and just see some more trains with the Kaijus in action. And I would say it's a relatively easy deck to play, so if you guys don't like reading card effects, it's definitely a good deck for you because everything's relatively simple. I'll kind of explain some of the stuff. You have Ruffian Railcar, so once per turn you can burn your opponent for 500, and then when this card goes to the graveyard during the end phase, you're able to add any level 10 Earth Machine from your deck to your hand. And usually you add the Knight Express Knight, and with the combination of having the field spell, everything just becomes super easy. You just summon, you know, multiple trains. Just basically getting out level 10 monsters is the goal of this deck. Specifically, number 81 is kind of your most powerful monster in the game because, yeah, the card's pretty good. It lets you protect anything. Really, it's once per turn during either player's turn. You can detach one material from this card, then target one face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects except for its own effects until the end of this turn. So you're able to negate something or technically just protect itself because that's usually what you use it for. And you'll see that this card is a really strong card that a lot of decks don't have easy access to just destroying unless they're playing Kaijus because they can distribute it. So like I said, a lot of people in the TCG right now just main decking them Kaiju, side decking them Kaiju just because it just gives you access to getting rid of like really powerful stuff on board. As you guys saw, there was a Beals that was in the way, and now he made it so this card, he activated this card during either player's turn. If a Dark Lord or Fallen One monster would be destroyed, he can go ahead and discard this, but he doesn't need to worry about that because Gustav Max over here can detach one material to burn your opponent for 2,000, and it doesn't have a restriction of you can't attack this turn or other monsters you control can't attack. You can tactically do this and then hit your opponent for 3k to the face, so it's like 5,000 points of damage. But I got another replay that I want to share with you guys, and then this is pretty cheeky over here. You'll see what the guy makes. But anyways, yeah, it's just something a little bit more interesting. And again, I like seeing these kind of innovative decks from you guys. Not the standard little ABC with, oh, I tech in like one card, so I'm playing artifacts. Maybe artifacts go to multiple next format, who knows. But I feel like these speedruns are going to get hit soon because, you know, Konami want you to play them archetypes, not, oh, mix in, splash in some things. You know, Hat got hit pretty hard. A lot of these innovative decks get hit pretty hard if they start topping. Heck, dude, archetypes get hit and then gotta release like the new ones anyways. But anyways, Twin was activated, getting rid of all of the back for the other one was a Torrential Tribute. So he makes a Ravenous Tarantula, blows up everything, goes ahead, makes a 7 Sins, hits him for 4k to the face, and this card also has protection. So the rank 10s are very, very strong going for the Atlantean Prince. Not going to be able to blow up this card because it would have protected itself anyways, but he's going to activate Call of Atlanteans, getting an additional normal summon. He's going to go have Dragoons, and he's going to be able to attack directly, but Psych Quaking Mirror Force is activated, but 7 Sins has that awesome effect. He's going to go ahead and destroy everything, special summon a Kaiju on each side of the board, and he's going to go ahead and finish his opponent off now that he's blown up the board. So you guys can see Kaijus are pretty cool, and I would say it's relatively budget friendly. Obviously Solemn's expensive, but I don't think you really need Solemns in this to make the deck viable. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. So let's go ahead and go to the deck edit. So it is this one over here, so let's go ahead and sort it. So this is the deck profile from the one you guys saw, but I'll make some suggestions for you guys. So this is by the Yu-Gi-Oh! OTK. This is his Train Kaiju deck. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and just go into it and talk a little bit about it. So first off, you have a really easy card to summon, Malefic Cyber and Dragon. Don't worry about its negative effects because usually you'll just be summoning it and then you're going to be exceeding into some of the rank 10s. Whatever the situation may be, obviously you make whatever you need. But yeah, all you have to do with this card is you have to banish a Cyber and Dragon from your extra deck. But in addition to that, you also have to have a field spell, because if a field spell isn't on the field, this card dies. So there's the downside to that. Unless, of course, you have Skill Drain, which is a fantastic card in this deck. But anyways, yeah, that's Malefic Cyber and Dragon. As far as all of the Kaijus go, I'm not going to go over all of their effects. They're pretty much the same thing. But anyways, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field in attack position by triggering one monster they control. If your opponent controls a Kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So basically, the whole goal of the Kaijus is you give them the weaker Kaiju, and then you special summon the stronger Kaiju. You definitely want to give them the Sticky String, because this one is also level 10, and also has more attack. There's really no reason. Don't give your opponent this card unless you really need to. There are certain circumstances that will call for that. But anyways, it says you can only control one Kaiju. Originally, if you would like make the card go back, it did crash Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, but they have fixed that error. I made a video a long time ago, but if originally, I just want to give you guys a quick little mention of this. But before, what would happen is the monster would infinitely swap, and the game didn't know what to do, so it would crash the game. But because it would create an infinite loop state. But anyways, you can only control one Kaiju monster, and then during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets exactly one card and no other card, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field to negate that effect, and if you do, you can destroy one card on the field. So that's a really good effect. And there is a Kaiju field spell that I don't think is bad. We'll get into that after. We'll go over the deck profile first. And then we have 3 copies of Knight Express Knight. So you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 0. So it's just a level 10 monster. But if you have Skill Drain, then it does become 3,000 attack. Next up, we have Heavy Freight Train Duracrane. So this card actually has a pretty decent effect. If this card is detached as a material, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. Really, really great card. This card over here, Exodius the Ultimate Forbidden Lord, it resets your entire graveyard, and it's a level 10 monster. It has a bonus effect for normal monsters, but that's basically the main effect of this card, is just to reset your deck, and then you have a level 10 monster to use as material. And then we have 3 copies of the Sticky String Kaiju. Now his effect is that if your opponent, you can only control 1 Kaiju monsters. But okay, so his effect is you get to remove 2 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field until the end of the next turn. Those monsters can attack. Also, their effects are negated. But again, it doesn't really matter because you're going to attack over their board anyways. But just watch out for those Kaiju counters if your opponent is playing something that's going to be able to gain Kaiju counters. I'll show you guys the Kaiju card in a moment. It's the Waterfront, which is a really decent card, but I think it might just be too slow in a format like this where we have Buster Dragon coming out every single turn. But next up, we have 3 copies of Refree and Railcar. I mentioned in the video, but I'll mention again. So he just gets to burn your opponent 500, and then when it's in your graveyard during the end phase of that turn, you get to add 1 level 10 machine type monster from your deck to your hand. And then we have 2 copies of Max C, because you can only play 2, and I can't believe they hit this still. Next up, we have 1 Raigeki and 1 Soul Charge, 3 copies of Terraforming, and it's because the field spell is really important. We have 3 copies of Uninterrupted Kaiju Slumber, so it's basically a dark hole, and then you special summon a Kaiju to each side of the board, and then in addition to that, you get to banish it from your graveyard to add 1 Kaiju monster from your deck to your hand. And then 2 copies of Twin Twisters, and 3 copies of Revolving Switchyard. So if a level 10 Earth monster is normal or special, except from your field except during the damage step, you can activate this effect. Your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of the turn, even if this card leaves the field, and then get to special 1 level 4 Earth machine monster with 18 or more attack from your deck, and if you do, the monster becomes level 10. Hey, whoa, is that a target right there? Because 1800 or more attack. So that's a really, really good effect. And then you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to add a level 10 Earth machine type monster from your deck to your hand. So obviously a really insanely strong effect, and that's what makes the deck super strong. As far as the traps go, he's playing 1 Bottomless, 2 copies of Quaking Mirror Force, 1 Vandies, 1 Skill Drain, triple Solemn Strike, 1 Solemn Warning. Like I mentioned before, the deck doesn't really need these, but it obviously is good if you have them. But if you're a budget player, you can definitely still get away with playing some other cards. One little recommendation I can make for the main deck, guys, is cards like Quaking Mirror Force are just a little bit too slow. Although, you know, making everything face down against certain decks, it can definitely be good. However, I just find it to be much more advantageous to stop your opponent from getting out cards. Like cards like Bottomless, in my opinion, are just much better. They're just faster than Quaking Mirror Force. Yeah. Anyways, he's playing Vandies, Skill Drain, and then these are obviously cards that they're pretty cheap now. The only expensive cards are really these 3 Solemns, which of course you guys can replace with any other cards. I know Ghost Aura got a reprint, so that wouldn't be a bad card also to consider, because it does help out against the ABC matchup. Anyways, as far as the extra deck, you gotta play 1 Cyber End, of course, if you're playing Malefic Cyber End. And then we got 2 copies of number 77, 7 Sins, 1 number 84, Pain Gainer, 1 Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. I really don't recommend making this card ever, but, you know, randomly if your opponent has all that back row, maybe you could get its effect off. But I'm pretty sure this day and age, one of those back rows is a Solemn, so good luck with that. Next up, we have number 99, Utopic Dragon. We have Skyplace Gangarita. So you detach one material from this card, turn 1 card, your opponent control, destroy it, and then you get to burn 1,000 to your opponent. A really good card, because keep in mind you can't do any your opponent takes no battle damage this turn, but you can still do damage with this or the Gustav Max. We have 3 copies of number 81. Go for this card more than often. And then we have 2 Gustav Max to burn your opponent. We have 2 copies of Ravenous Tarantula and 1 copy of Castell, because you do technically have access to it. It's not going to be something that you're going to like really be able to make very often, but randomly this card is good. Or like a Cowboy, or sometimes you just need that extra you know, utility. So I'd say if you have options, Castell's probably one of the best rank 4s in the game that's like generic that every deck can make. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you think of this deck, and if you guys are interested in trying the deck yourself. I think it's kind of a fun deck, and like I said, I like seeing kind of more unique stuff, even though Trains, they used to be good. If you guys didn't know, in OCG, Trains have topped, but you know, they got kind of outclassed, and we got them in the TCG a little bit too late. But you know what? The hype train is still there for any of you train players. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys give a like button a titty slap. Now I'm signing out.